Hello everybody, welcome back to Chill Vibes Only. Today's video is going to be a yogi's guide to being less judgmental of both yourself and others in the world. Judgment, I think, is something that is a really natural emotion and thought that everybody has. And it's something that comes up regularly for me in my life, and I know at least for my friends in their life. And I don't think there's anything wrong with being judgmental or having judgy thoughts in your head, as long as we are aware of them and we are conscious of them and we work to correct and change them and just grow and become better ourselves and be nicer to the people around us. And so that is why today's video is about how to become a little bit less judgmental and how to work with those, or just correcting those toxic energy judgment thoughts. So moving forward, you retrain and rewire your brain to be less judgmental. So I'm going to just be sharing a few tips that I use when I have a judgment coming into my head, either about myself or about someone else in the world, and how I just course correct it so I'm not allowing that toxic energy into my day-to-day life, or sending it out to other people in their lives. The goal in all of this is just to make the world a little bit better of a place, a little bit nicer and kinder. And so if you're watching this and you know someone in your life who needs to be a little bit less judgmental or a little bit more understanding, please share it with them. Also give it a big thumbs up and subscribe because it really helps this channel, and we'll get into the video. So, quick disclaimer, in life there's yin and yang. I'm not saying that you should never have judgments or use your judgment. Obviously there are certain situations where we have to make a judgment call on a person or a thing or a place to be safe. That's not what I'm getting at here. The types of judgments I'm talking about is when you see someone on the street doing something and you think like, oh, that's weird, or oh, like that person is stupid, or how can that person be such an idiot, or that person doesn't look the way that they should look, or why are they wearing that? It's those types of superficial judgments that are just not necessary and not healthy and not nice. So that's what we're talking about here today. So I truly believe that a judgment is like toxic energy, and it's toxic energy that's staying in you and then also going out to people around you. So it's really important that when you first sense yourself judging yourself or judging another person, you just pause and become super aware of it. So for example, say I am walking across the street and I see somebody litter. And in my head, I'm just like, wow, what an asshole. They don't care about the environment. They just littered. That person sucks. Pause and think to yourself, what does my judgment and what is the thought going through my head and me labeling that person who I've never met before, never had a conversation with, what does that say about me? And really reflect inwards and think about why you think those things and why you're so quick to judge. Maybe it's because that's a sensitive, passionate topic for you. Maybe your parents when you were younger reacted to situations by just calling people assholes or idiots. And think to yourself if you really want to be that person who also reacts that way to people in the world, or maybe if you can take a more kinder, gentle approach to the situation. Because usually when we have judgments about others, it really is a reflection of ourselves and how we were brought up and what we think of ourselves and how we treat ourselves. So really take a moment to just pause and sit in that judgment and reflect on, why was that my first reaction? Where could I potentially learn that? And really understand it, because once you understand it, you can fix and change it. So maybe it is, hey, my mom or my dad used to freak out at somebody who they didn't know, and as a kid they freaked out on me maybe, and I just learned those habits, but I know that doesn't feel good and it doesn't feel good inside, and so I want to course correct that. So instead of thinking about this person as an idiot or an asshole, I'm going to have some compassion and empathy, and think about what I can do next to make this a positive experience and not a toxic one. So some examples could be you pick up the litter and throw it out in front of them. Just to lead by example, you don't say anything at all. So just choose some sort of more positive action from that. Also, you might want to take a moment to recognize, hey, am I just having a bad day? Do I usually not respond by thinking this person's an idiot and an asshole? Am I just tired? Am I hungry? Am I exhausted? Like, what's going on with me today? Maybe that's not a regular reaction for you. It's out of the ordinary, and it's just because you're having a bad day. And then just be easy on yourself. In that case, I probably wouldn't do anything, maybe just pick it up and throw it away in this example. But just recognize that maybe that judgment wasn't coming from who you actually are. It was just coming from a circumstance that's going on in your life, and you just don't have the same patience that you would on a good day. Okay, then the second thing I always try to do is check your privilege. This one is so important, and I think it comes up the most when we talk about politics or when someone has a different view than you on some sort of social issue. You have to think about the way that you were brought up and the knowledge and privilege that you had. Did you get to have a proper education? Did you get to read different sources of information? Were you taught how to form arguments and check for specific facts? Like, what background did you come up in? And think about how maybe this person who has an opposing view to you could have come from a different life, could have different experiences and different desires and different wants and different needs that are so valid, but they're just different from yours. And if that person was judging you and making you feel horrible for your situation or what your choices are, that wouldn't really feel good. So why should you make that person feel bad for their choices or decisions, right? Everybody's coming from a different point of privilege, and I think it's really easy to grow up in a lot of privilege and not have a lot of education, understand certain things, and then just look at the world and expect everybody else to be at that same level as you. But it's so unrealistic and so not reasonable, and also really not fair. So when you're having a judging thought about someone, check your privilege and check to see if maybe you had a better upbringing or you had more time to understand the situation the way you do, and try to put yourself in that person's shoes and see if you were them, would you maybe still think the same way? Would you, if you didn't have the same access to the resources that you had? I find that thought is just super humbling, and it brings you back down to earth, and you realize, wow, I'm so lucky, and hey, here's my opportunity to either let this person just live their life, do the things that they need to do to survive, and not intervene, because also too, sometimes you're never going to agree with some people, and you just kind of have to let it go. Or you can use it as an opportunity to educate someone and to share your opinion, but without making them feel bad about theirs. It's just about collaboration and having a conversation and opening the space for all sorts of opinions and feelings. So yeah, just be easy on others, lead by example, be easy on yourself. We're all learning, and don't take things personally. Oftentimes we cast these judgments on people just by something that they're saying or wearing or doing, and you don't actually take the time to sit down and really understand them. And then that kind of goes into my third and final tip, which is to just remember that everybody is doing their best, or at least the majority of people, based on their situation and circumstance, are doing their best. So be easy on them, be easy on yourself. This is all a learning experience. Oftentimes when someone is doing something different than what we would do, it's just because they don't have the same background as us, and they're not us. So obviously it's gonna be different. And I would instead try to approach those situations with understanding, compassion, love, patience, instead of judgment, fear, toxicity, or anger. Because those emotions and that type of energy is not gonna help or make any situation better. But taking the time to just understand that everyone's doing their best and they're all trying to feel just as safe and fulfilled as in the world as you are is going to help you be more compassionate and empathetic to those people. So really put yourself in their shoes. Try to understand that everyone's just trying to navigate as best as they can. Also understanding that their best on one day might look different than their best on another day, just based off of life and the circumstances that everyone's going through. So try to be understanding, try to be empathetic, try to check your privilege, try to look deep inside of yourself and figure out where these judgments are coming from, and then work to auto-correct and auto-tune them over time. This doesn't happen overnight. I'm not saying I have these thoughts every single time I have a judgment, but it's a work in progress, and it's a habit, and it's something that if we keep trying to do and become aware of every single day, it will get stronger and stronger, and you'll find yourself having less judgmental thoughts. So those are my 3 tips for how to be less judgmental, just some things I've learned through my yoga practice and just my whole spiritual practice. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Like I said at the beginning, please give it a big thumbs up and subscribe, because it really helps this channel. Share it with anybody who you think needs some help being a little bit less judgmental, and I hope you guys are all having an awesome day.